time. So if everybody could please stand and we'll do a moment of silence. Okay, thank you very much. I just want to say, you know, when you hear the news stories of 12 hospitals being targeted and destroyed and loss of life and maternity hospitals, you know, it's the heighten of an atrocity, a war crime. There's so many names you can put on it, but the strength of the Ukrainian people, they are fighters, they are not giving up, and the world is behind them. And let's hope that the world can get behind them in a more substantial manner to push back the Russian aggression on that democratic country. I just want to say also too, for the Ukrainian population that is in Stephenville and in the Bay St. George region, as far out as the agricultural sector around Maidstone and Robinsons. Our own Councillor Tristan Yulin has a Ukrainian DNA lineage. And I'm actually reading the history of Winnipeg. I'm a bit of a history buff, and actually 120 years ago in Winnipeg, just in the city, there were 3,500 Ukrainians. As Ukrainians actually played a significant role in the growth of Canada's GDP and economics by becoming farmers and transferring their technology when they emigrated to Canada in the late 1800s. And still today, they're very vibrant. So as a community, we're doing what we can. This Saturday night is a fundraiser being held at Clancy's, organized by Nomad Stages, a production studio, dance theater in Stephenville, who has Ukrainian personnel that move from the Ukraine and work for them. And as council, we spoke the other day at finance and at planning. We plan to match the donations that they receive at the door that night. So, but we will do what we can to ensure that if refugees arrive in our province, that our town will have open arms and will have human kindness, and we will accept them. So I would ask the councillor to move that we adopt the agenda as circulated. Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller. Can I get a seconder?
Second.
I think that was Councillor Laura Aylward. I can tell by her voice. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 2 is the approval of minutes. We had a public meeting of council February 24, 2022. I would ask council to approve those minutes as they were circulated by our town clerk via email. Can I get a move?
So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow, seconder.
Second it, Tracy.
Second by Councillor Tracy Boland. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Number 2B is our special meeting of council, February 16, 2022. I would ask the councillor to move that those minutes be accepted as circulated. Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, seconder.
Second.
Second by Councillor Laura Aylward. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Oh, is Tristan there now?
I am here.
How are
Yeah.
you?
Welcome aboard, Councillor Tristan Yulin.
Thank you kindly.
Are there any matters arising from both of those minutes that were adopted? No matters arising from the minutes. I'd also like to say that coming up in a few days from now, we have a proclamation which will be Purple Day for Epilepsy, March 26, 2022. Hopefully we'll start to have these proclamations and dignitaries associated with those groups in our council chambers to do it live. Over the past 2 years, as we all know, a lot of this was done via Zoom and done just in camera, I guess, with council, that we couldn't have the public in here. But epilepsy is such a debilitating disease, and there's a lot of cases across the world, across Canada, across our province. So hopefully we'll have the dignitaries in and have that signed for March 26th. Okay, item number 5, the Finance Committee report. I'm going to turn it over to Councillor Lenny Tiller for chairing the Finance Committee.
It's the Finance Committee report for March 10th, 2022. Item number 1, expense check listing for February, I said 2021. I meant March 10th, 2022. First item, expense check listing for February 2022. There's a recommendation of the Finance Committee that the expense check listing for February 2022 and the amount of $383,503.65 be approved, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, seconder.
Second.
Second by Deputy Mayor Susan Fowle. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item number 2, request for donation, Stephenville Emergency Food Services. It is a recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville will donate an asset of pre-built 12 by 16 shed to the Stephenville Emergency Food Services. The organization will use the shed for a fundraiser. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, second.
Second.
Second by Councillor Laurie Howard. I'd just like to speak on that one just for a moment on a couple of fronts. Last year, during Operation Eastern Sapper was when the Canadian Military Engineering Branch came into this region, and they did a bunch of projects. They replaced the bridge at Knowles Pond for the Trailway Association. But while they were here, they utilized our industrial facility, and they built several industrial, garden sheds, man cave, she cave sheds, but just utility sheds. And they did it as part of their training as engineers. And they stepped forward, and we had great success with one of these units during the Kinsman Drive. And I think they raised quite a bit of money, over $20,000. And then they took the money and gave it back to community groups, which was so nice to see. But you know, the military does so much, and we are known as a military town. And as we're speaking today, we have Canadian soldiers in the bordering country ready to help the Ukrainians once a decision is made from the minister and the defense minister and NATO as a group, and that system is there for supporting NATO countries. But you can rest assured that I believe there was 565 Canadian soldiers there. You can rest assured quite a few of them are from Newfoundland, because we have a high ratio of Newfoundlanders that are in the Canadian military. So on that note, this is a great move. I think they're going to theme it as a garden shed, as the garden season and the greenhouse season and growing season is coming forward. So on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item number 3, request for sponsorship, the Canadian Fallen Firefighters Foundation, CFFF. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville will provide sponsorship in the amount of $1,000 to support the Canadian Fallen Firefighters Foundation. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, seconder.
I second it, Tracy.
Second by Councillor Tracy Boland. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Request number 4, request for donation, Bay St. George Sick Children's Foundation. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville give a grant in the amount of $500 to the Bay St. George Sick Children's Foundation, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, seconder.
I'll second.
Second by Councillor Tristan Yulin. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item number 5, request for grant Society for the Care and Protection of Animals. It is the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville give a grant in the amount of $1,148 to the Society for the Care and Protection of Animals to offset the 2022 property, water, and sewer tax levies for the property located at 15 Utah Drive, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, seconder.
Second.
Second by by Deputy Mayor Susan Fallon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 6, accounts payable published to the town of Stephenville website. It is the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the accounts payable listing, once approved by council, be published to the town's website, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, seconder.
I'll second.
Second by Councillor Tristan Yulin. I'd just like to speak on that. I think it's a nice step. We have taken the previous council and this council. We keep trying for continuous improvement around openness and transparency. We are a public office. It's public funds, and having our accounts payables on the website, it gives, if anybody's looking, where are we spending our money? And obviously, we have a lot of local businesses and services that we spend our money on. But when those services and products are not available locally, we outsource either provincially and within Canada and sometimes abroad. And that's within most municipalities how they do their business. So it's a good step forward. I applaud council on their efforts to be more open and transparent. So on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Dr. Ryan? Okay, motion carried.
Number 7, request for donation, Stephenville Lions Club, and before we proceed, I don't know if I'm supposed to leave. I left during the finance meeting. Do I leave for this one?
Yeah, now are we adding the Acadian? He missed that one.
Yeah, do that one.
Yeah, do that one first and then we'll ask you to leave the room.
Number 7.
Number 7, Holiday National Acadian Day.
My number 7 was the Stephenville Lions.
Oh, okay, you got the,
Okay. Number 7, is the Holiday National Acadian Day. It is the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town office will be closed for National Acadian Day, which is observed on August 15th. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, seconder.
I second it, Tracy.
Second by Deputy Mayor Susan Fallon first there. I'd just like to say that over the past 4 years, I guess Deputy Mayor Susan Fallon and myself had done some work with the Federation of Francophones provincially about trying to raise the awareness of our rich Acadian culture. As you well know, we have a rich Indigenous culture, but those two cultures intertwined, and there's a lot of great relationships that develop over the history of this province and this country with the French and the Indigenous groups. Our entrance signs to the town of Stephenville are of the Acadian colors. That signifies our rich Acadian history. And this year, a group who actually presented to the previous council, who got incorporated, started rolling out their plans for the promotion, marketing, and product development around our rich Acadian culture here in Stephenville. We were known as the Acadian Village. And a lot of French that were expelled from Nova Scotia during the expulsion times between the French and the English. A lot of the French arrived on these shores from areas like Shedicamp in Nova Scotia. So it's a great step forward, but it also shows the recognition of this council about the importance of what a holiday in this rich French Acadian culture is. It's a hallmark across Canada, being recognized from the Métis and the French in Manitoba, in Saskatchewan, or right through Eastern Canada. So on that note, we got a seconder. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
So for number 8, request for donation Stephenville Lions Club, I declare conflict of interest as I'm the vice president of the Stephenville Lions Club. So I'll leave the room and
Thank you very much. Susan, I may ask you to step in for that item on finance, if you don't mind, Deputy Mayor Susan Bella.
No problem. So it's item 8, it's a request for a donation for Stephenville Lions Club. It was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville give a donation in the amount of $750 to the Stephenville Lions Club for its annual spring convention. I so move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow, seconder.
I'll second.
Second by Councillor Tristan Newland. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
There we go.
Okay, we'll bring Councillor Tiller back into the room. And item number 9, Lenny.
number 9, okay. Request for grant Stephenville Airport Corporation. It is the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville give a grant to the Stephenville Airport Corporation in the amount of $50,000. $30,000 is allocated for operations and $20,000 is for Wasco's February contract fees. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, seconder.
Second.
Second by Councillor Laurie Elward. Question?
Yes, I do have a couple of questions. I knew this was coming forward, so I did some research on behalf of the taxpayer of Stephenville. And I have a little bit of issue. I'm just a little bit confused, that's all, because we know the deal is not signed. That's what we're told in the meeting. But a quick Google search, if you go to the Diamond website, it actually says they've acquired the Stephenville Airport and has been renamed to the Stephenville Diamond International Airport. So that's on their website. On the Airport Corporation's website, which is kind of a little bit off-putting to me, is actually only 2 pages now. The airport website is gone, and all it says is new website under construction and coming soon. In the early stages of this of our project development, we are not yet hiring. Stay up to date on future job postings and available postings. Please follow the Diamond Group of companies on LinkedIn. And then if you go to LinkedIn, you actually find the Stephenville Diamond International Airport claiming ownership of an airport in Southeast Stephenville, Newfoundland, Labrador, Canada, that was built by the United States Air Force Base and operated as Ernest Harmon Air Force Base from 1941 to 1966. They also have a Twitter page claiming that they own an airport in the southeast of Stephenville, Newfoundland, Labrador, Canada. And the owner of the company purchasing claims he is the owner of the Stephenville Diamond International Airport, sorry. I'm just a little bit confused at this point that we have a request for $50,000 coming from the Airport Corporation, but on the Airport Corporation's own website, it now says they are owned by the Diamond Group of companies, and stay tuned for updates.
So I can make some comments on it because I'm the council's liaison on the airport board. In September, the Diamond Group of companies signed or the Airport Authority and the Diamond Group co-signed a legal document that gave the authority for the Diamond Group to buy the airport. It was a legal document done by lawyers based on the terms of the purchase agreement. In order to get to the terms of the purchase agreement, it required a due diligence period, which was completed on December 31st.
Mm-hmm.
That passed. And once that was completed, all the findings that came out of the due diligence And really due diligence is more on the side of the buyer as opposed to the seller. So obviously it's a big file. It's not like buying a car or buying a home or maybe buying a convenience store. It's a significant file. So the legal document was signed in September. The due diligence finished December 31st. Two lawyer firms, reputable lawyer firms in St. John's from both sides of the party are negotiating and doing the final work to close the deal with a purchase sale agreement. So really, the airport has signed that they can sell the airport. The ownership won't officially happen until the board gets the purchase sale agreement and signs that off. But the intent is to sell to the Diamond. And that's what the binding agreement did between the lawyers in September.
Right.
So that's where that's at. So right at this point in time, the airport authority is still the legal operating entity. And this is the roughest time to keep the airport open, obviously in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
And the Winnipeg contract is part of the management contract that was paid for in year one by the provincial government. And we're supporting it into year two until the transfer happens.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been doing the $20,000 a month in January. This would end up being $90,000 for this fiscal year. Let's hope it's the last disbursement and the deal happens.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, that's a good thing because we're off the hook as a council. And remember, there's years that we had to put in over almost $500,000 to keep the airport operating. So it's within the legal jargon. How it's framed out on his website, I can't comment because it's not my website, but it's very good, valid points that you brought up.
I mean, to your point, you're absolutely right. I mean, we're kind of a third party to this, trying to keep this place going, but at this point, any taxpayer that goes and just researches Stephenville Airport is going to get this. It says we're owned by the Diamond Group of companies, the thing is sold. We're hearing one thing in the media from our council, ensuring us that this is going to happen. And I'm certain there's nobody in this town sitting on their couch saying, damn, I wish this wouldn't happen because I don't want this town to change. I think 100% of the people of Stephenville want this to happen. But when I see things like this, it's hard to vote on giving the taxpayers money, spending $50,000 when you can't even research our airport or know that you can fly there, that it even exists because it's been taken over by the Diamond Group. And it's no fault of the Diamond Group, it's no fault of the airport, but there's a flaw here where the public domain says the airport has been bought and is renamed, and it's on multiple things. It's on the website, it's on the airport's website itself, and that's a pretty scary thing.
The other thing I just want to add in too is that the airport corporation is a legal incorporated entity, and how they negotiate, they have autonomy on that. Their chair is a lawyer, and that gives me a comfort zone, you know, with how the negotiations are going. And at the end of the day, Transport Canada is aware that there's a negotiated meetings happening for the transfer of an airport to a new group. And that's validated with Transport Canada. So it's something that we've spoke of many times, that our goal is to get somebody else running that airport, that they can create more jobs than what we've been able to do.
Right.
Maybe attract more business, do some aerospace, and start paying taxes to the taxpayers of Stephenville, that we could have better roads, better recreation, and so forth. But, you know, just the other day, I was talking to the airport manager, and he happened to be talking to Dr. Cresci, one of our specialists at the hospital. And he plays a critical role as an internist when a decision is made when you bring in an air ambulance. And, you know, we do between 100 and 150 air ambulance flights a year. And he said to the airport manager, whatever it takes, that airport got to stay open.
Right. And I'm 100% in agreement. I just want to make sure that as mayor, you sit on the board, you're comfortable with us voting that $50,000 when we either approve it or deny it, we prove it, that it is going to the corporation to stay open and not going to the Diamond Group of companies. That's all I need an answer.
Yeah, and that's 100%. The bank accounts and the operation are still with the airport authority until the terms are met. It can transfer. But if the terms are met by the Diamond Group, technically the board can't stop it because they have a legal agreement.
Okay.
So And that's how it's framed up. So very good comment. It's a big file, a big issue, and fingers crossed that it's all going to work out to everybody's best interests.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contramine? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Anything late, Mike, Colin, Jennifer? You want? Nothing late?
I have one more. Is that one switched to planning for the town manager? That's mine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one more?
Item number 10, sorry. Appointment of town manager. It is the recommendation of the Finance Committee that the town of Stephenville appoint Mr. Colin Maddock as town manager for the town of Stephenville, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, seconder.
I second.
Second by Councillor Tracy Boland. I'd like to make a couple of comments before I close out the motion. Mike decided to put in his resignation that he's going to move on, do some other things, maybe cut a little bit more firewood and spend time in a sports car in Alberta or something. I'm not sure, but I got some rumblings with family. But Mike, currently you had 2 terms at the council with the town of Stephenville. Combined, how many years?
22.
22 years, which is a full career. So I got to say, with Mike, his background, his engineering background, in his early days when he was the supervisor of public works or superintendent, what was it called? Superintendent was very beneficial. But when he came back this time, his greatest strength, I felt, that's just me now, I'm kind of pro economic development, but was his international experience he gained with the College of North Atlantic working in the Qatar project. And I just heard today that the contract's over and we're finished in Doha. But, you know, when you travel and you see so much extravagance, because money wasn't an issue over there, was it, Mike?
No.
But, you know, there was a lot of standards, and to be able to come back, Mikey did an excellent job. Our town's in great shape. And you know what? I really got to realize how great our town was. And when I started doing staycations, and you start driving around other towns, not mentioning no names now, but we can hold our head up pretty high in this town for our green spaces, our recreation, our roads, all of our infrastructure. You know, our sewer treatment facilities, our artesian water systems. So, Mike, I'm sure before you leave on the 15th, we're going to get together and have a few more words, but we still got you for a little bit. But I'll switch gears now to our new manager, Colin Maddox. Like Mike, Colin is from Stephenville, his family here. His father was an educator in the school system when I was in the school system. That's a few years ago. But Colin decided after about 20 years of international experience, he's well educated from McGill University with an MBA undergraduate degrees in geology. Spent a term in the Canadian military as a naval intelligence officer, but his economic DNA or strength, I felt, was working in Ireland with the Celtic Tiger, as that tiger was leaping forward on all economic fronts, attracting companies as Dell into Dublin. And then most recently, and it's kind of interesting that we open up a moment of silence, but worked in the Ukraine for the Prime Minister under economic framework. So that experience coming back to our town is going to bode well for the growth of our town. And so, Colin, I want to welcome you to the table. I'm going to call for a vote, and then I might have you say a couple of words. It's not normally the norm, but as a chair, I can make that happen. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. So Colin, I know you're only here in week 2. How you feel?
Absolutely great, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure. I'm looking forward to being able to serve the people of Stephenville and this council. I've had almost 2 weeks now with the staff here, and it's a great pleasure to be able to work with this staff. And I've got really big boots to fill when I start to do the job Mike's been doing. Yeah, doing an incredible job. And I thank you very much for the opportunity to serve, and I look forward to serving you as much as best I can.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
Get the hair color down and it's a start.
Okay, I'm going to turn over 5.2 Planning and Traffic Committee to Deputy Mayor Susan Fallon.
Thank you. So for the Planning and Traffic Committee, the first one is Port Harmon Authority, Harbor Drive. They were requesting a permit to expose the culvert on site on the property located parallel to main storm system on Harbor Drive. It was the recommendation of the committee that this permit be approved, subject to the conditions as follows. A work schedule must be submitted and approved by the town, and the town will assign a monitoring engineer to be on site. I so move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fallon, seconder.
I second
Second.
it, Tracy.
Second by Councillor Tracy Boland. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Notice one thing about teams. It's almost like when you're a gunslinger.
Yeah, just a little did
Who got the quickest draw, but people in the room here seem to have the quicker draw.
Yeah.
All the people that are teamed in at
Yeah.
these public meetings. Just second.
Do we vote on that?
Yeah. Did we say all in favor? Yeah.
I don't think.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, you're chairing that part of the meeting, so.
Well, that's okay. Then I started to doubt myself in that split. Okay, 11 Bayside Drive and 1 Lorena Drive. Request for permission to consolidate the parcels of land located at 11 Bayside Drive and 1 Lorena Drive as per the letter attached. Okay. And to be named as 11 Bayside Drive. It was the recommendation of the Planning and Traffic Committee that this request be approved, subject to compliance with all town regulations. I so move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fallon, seconder.
Seconder.
Second by Councillor Tracy Boland.
Oh, that
No,
was Myra, wasn't it?
Councillor White.
It was Myra Waite.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And the last item, I think, is there's no late items, right? Last item is land for a wellness center on Minnesota Drive. It was the recommendation of the Planning and Traffic Committee that the town of Stephenville will provide a parcel of land on Minnesota Drive to support Newfoundland Aboriginal Women's Network application to construct a wellness center. I so move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fallon, seconder. Second by Councillor Lenny Teller. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And that is it for traffic and planning.
Nothing late, eh, Jen? No? Okay. No bylaws or regulations today that I see in front of us. Any unfinished business?
I don't think so.
No unfinished. Any new business?
I got one item.
Go ahead, Councillor Teller.
I just want to say a big congratulations to Councillor Cynthia Downey in the town of Stephenville Crossing and Mayor Danny Conway in the town of St. George's on their appointment to the Western Waste Management Board. There were 3 of us that ran in the election to represent the ward of Bay St. George. There was 2 appointments and both of them won, and it was announced yesterday.
Okay.
So I'd like to thank everyone who voted for me. I wasn't really sure how a mail-in ballot election worked, and I was up against 2 rightful opponents, and congratulations to the both of them.
Okay, thank you very much. I got a couple of things.
Yeah.
It's, I just found out yesterday that Halapu has a new position in Stephenville. It's going to be a cultural outreach position. And Paul Pike won the job competition. So it's another position or in Stephenville with Halapu, which is very important to our community, especially on the cultural side. And you can speak to all the elders and just Bay St. George, Stephenville, St. George's region is the strength of the Mi'kmaq in this province. Even the Mi'kmaq of Conn River, their roots come out of St. George's and Flat Bay and Bay St. George. So that's very important. I also want to mention too that council this past week once again met with the Dr. Ashley and Tara Freak of Western Health. We've been pushing hard and we have to continue to push hard until we get our complement of staff at Sir Thomas Roddick Hospital, get enough family doctors. And we do have a surgeon arriving here in a couple of weeks, I think around the 24th or close to it of March. And that's Dr. Crawley. And he's a veteran surgeon who actually was at the Sir Thomas Roddick Hospital in the early years. So that's good news. Very, very important. I do know that our Bay St. George medical clinic, there's talks of new family physicians arriving. So those people that don't have a family doctor, hopefully as these new physicians arrive, people will be getting called and their case files will be transferred to those family doctors. And we also have a private clinic, Dr. Makumsky, who runs, who is actually advertising their clinic and our recruitment and retention program that we have. So our goal is we have a very robust recruitment package, but it'll only work once it gets the uptake happens. And then if the uptake happens, we know that it was successful. So on that note, that's a couple of things I wanted to mention. Anything else from any councillors?
I just wanted to welcome our new town manager aboard. And I'm sure that we will work well together. So congratulations and welcome to the town of Stephenville as our new town manager.
Can we get an applause for that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Getting back to the mayor's talk on the meeting with the two senior people from Western Health. They're still, even though they talk nice, they use all kinds of different words, talking about the OR and this kind of stuff. But that sometimes they don't really practice what they preach. And of course, the big problem, a lot of the problem is communication between senior management and the physicians and actually with staff. So, you know, we need, and I tell them all the time, every meeting that I attend to, that they have to start having more communication with the physicians and finding out how they're doing. We have a couple off now. One doctor's off since last September. Whatever is going on with his situation has been, in my view, too long. And the other lady has been off for medical reasons, and she's not heard from anybody in Western Health, no one. So I was talking to her several days ago, and I really feel someone should have picked up the phone and called her to see how she was doing. So anyway, there's still a good many things that we have to iron out with this, and they're talking about this collaborative team, which is going to be formed. Actually, they're forming one now in St. John's. Get doctors, nurse practitioners, physiotherapists, and so on. Get them as a team. They figure that's going to be a good thing. So hopefully that will be, and the sooner it gets done, the better. He did mention that they had applied to the government for $400,000 to do renovations and updates to the base housing that's allotted for that Western Health has for the physicians. I think there's about 8 for sure. So he did mention they had applied for $400,000 to do that work. So they were hoping to get somewhere with that. Now, I also questioned them on the delay in ordering our dialysis machines and 4 other items that we raised money for from the foundation, and they promised that they would give me an update on it. So that's some of the things that went on at the meeting as well. So I think these meetings should continue, and we should continue to get updates from them at least every 3 to 4 months.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Councillor Laura Aylward. I'd also like to mention that council has decided that we're going to get a little proactive on the healthcare file in this town on a couple of fronts. We've been aggressively working with Western Health to look at a new medical clinic that's innovative, that would have a pharmacy in it, that would be user-friendly, accessible for disabilities and so forth. And we could become a partner. And we've heard about the triple Ps, and whether it's a 2P or a 3P or a 4P, we take healthcare very serious in this town, just like we take our airport very serious in this town. And we need to move on that. They're doing some work with the province to see how fast they can get moving, whether they'll do a single source for the building or whether a tender will go out, but that's in the works. But as council, we spoke about the other day, and I'll just table it, that we will now get proactive, move forward, and start some preliminary engineering to look at a new long-term care facility. Because if we wait for somebody else to start, it might never start. So we're going to start some preliminary engineering, some renderings, some site location. We have a piece of land allocated adjacent to the hospital. And for us, that's how we come into that triple P or 4 Ps. It's our land, it's valuable, it's adjacent to the hospital, it's in the right location. So as a council, we're going to get proactive and get rolling on that. And actually, our town manager suggested that to us last week. Mike, so thanks for that. We're going to get moving on that. So when we get moving on that, we meet with Minister Haggie and we meet with the Premier. We can say, well, here's what we got. Here's what we want. Here's our location. Here's what it's going to look like. We want to work with your health department and your engineers to make sure that it's what is required, is what's needed, and is built to suit. So that's another step forward, I think, on behalf of council.
And also, just a reminder too, that we continue to lobby on behalf of the citizens here for a courthouse that's accessible. So we'll, continue to remind people of that every opportunity we get to. So.
Yeah. And also too, I guess the last one this week, we sent out a letter to the Premier, to the Minister of Tourism, to the Minister of Transportation, to Minister Parsons and the different MHAs. And basically, we clearly stated that we are pretty upset with government and how they rolled out airport funding for 3 airports in the province, and they left Stephenville out. So 3 of the airports were St. John's and Gander. St. John's got $500,000. Gander got $250,000. And what a lot of people don't know is Gander Airport and St. John's Airport are government-owned airports. They're one of the 26 NASA airports across Canada that are owned by the federal government. So St. John's just got $22 million from the feds in addition to do upgrades.
Yeah.
So Deer Lake and Stephenville are structured identical. They are non-share capital community-run airports run by a board of directors incorporated. Stephenville Airport Corporation, the Deer Lake Regional Airport Corporation. So why do Deer Lake get $250,000 and we get nothing? So the big announcement was the money was for marketing our airports for come home year. It was for reestablishing or establishing new routes. So who are we? We're part of Newfoundland and Labrador. We're residents. we're part of Come Home Year. We got Sunwing flying into our airport this year with tourists for Come Home Year. The airport authority is negotiating with other airlines to announce for the summer. So, you know, why were we left out? So it was a very strong letter. And I do know that the airport manager has been meeting with the deputy minister of finance. And just clearly to say too, that the airport is still run by the airport corporation. And summer's coming really fast. And we are deserving of the taxpayers' money, just like Deer Lake was. So, you know, we got a lot of files and a lot of responsibilities as a council. But I want to clearly say to the residents that are listening and for the staff and our council that we're fighters and we're not going to stop fighting. And when somebody tries to step on us, we're going to push them back and ask them why they did that to us.
Mr. Mayor, would you request Jennifer to, the clerk, to give us a copy of that letter that was written?
Yeah.
If you could send us a copy. And also for the information of anyone listening, the chair of the board, Trevor Murphy, on behalf of the board, sent off a 3-page letter actually about this particular issue, and that's been sent off as well.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So on that note, Colin, welcome to your first public meeting.
Thank you, Mr.
Councillors that had to zoom in from St. John's for business, hurry up and get home. Okay, that's Myra and Tristan. And but that's what the greatness of innovation and allows us, that no matter where one councillor is, can zoom in or team into a meeting. So on that note, I would ask somebody move that we adjourn the meeting. Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, seconder.
I second it.
Second by Councillor Tracy Bolden. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
Good night.